Well, hello. I'm glad you could join us today for the 26th episode of the Salem Painter. This is the last episode of the second season. It's hard to believe that we've already done 26 of these. I hope you're all still enjoying them, and as always, if you have any questions or if you'd like to make any suggestions or ask us to paint something, just drop me an email at thesalempainter@gmail.com. We air these episodes every 2 weeks, but you can see them at any time on our YouTube. Alright. And what I'm doing right now, I'm just putting a thin coat of what's called liquid white. I've explained this a few times. I usually talk a little bit about it in each episode because it's very important for this technique. It lets you blend the paints onto canvas, and it also lets you make things appear more natural. So, like if I put a color, it's going to blend with this thin white paint, and it's going to get lighter as I come down. Got some of the green from my last episode on here. That's okay. I was going to put some water in here anyway, so that'll probably look very nice. There we go. Just blend that out. Alright. I think today I want to do a painting with a mountain and a sunset. So I'm just going to start with a little yellow right in the middle. Still picking up some of that blue, but that's okay. I'll just go ahead and blend it into it. It won't make a difference at all. Probably. Who knows? I never know for sure. Gotta get my napkins out of here. I need a paper towel. Wipe some of the paint off the side here. Getting it all over my hands. And usually, if I get the paint on my hands, I end up touching my face, and then I have paint all over my face. I don't want to do that. Alright, now that we got that color, we decide what our next color is going to be and do it on both sides. Because I want this, I'm going to have water down here, so I'm wanting whatever's on the top to kind of reflect down to the water. And I think maybe I'd like kind of an orange-red color, so I'm going to go down. I'm just going to blend a little bit of my glycerin crimson with a little bit of both the yellow colors. Like an orangish-red color, very sunset-looking color. And I'm just going to do that around there. Maybe put some down here where the water's going to be. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. Oh, look at that. I didn't switch the camera. So luckily, I haven't done too much, but I just put a little arc around here. I started switching the camera earlier this season, and it's nice to be able to switch it, when I want to, but sometimes I forget to go back, so you have to excuse me. I'm a bad director. Alright, next I'm going to go back down to the palette and mix a little bit of this blue with the crimson. I want a purple color that's more to the blue side. I'm going to go back up to the canvas and start putting it on. Terrible, terrible director. And let's see, pinning these corners and going down. And I don't want to paint over this other color yet. I'm going to come back, I'm going to clean my brush and do that. So basically we're going to make what looks like a big eye here. And as I said earlier, actually I didn't say that earlier, that was a different episode I was filming. This is a great place to clean your brush off. So if you have extra color, just put it down here, especially if you're going to be making water or just kind of painting over it. Alright, a little bit more down here. Get this white out of the canvas. And where you're going to have water, you want to blend straight across, because if not, it's going to make your water look a little bit strange. Alright, now I'm going to clean my brush. Just rub it against a wire screen, and I've got a little coffee can here full of paint thinner. I would take out the wire screen, but it's already got paint all over it. Actually, I've got one down here. I'll show you what that looks like. Let me dig through my box. Alright, it looks like this, and what happens is basically it scrubs the paint off when you rub the brush across it. And that gets most of the paint off, and it settles to the bottom. So you can reuse the same paint thinner over and over. You might have to add a little each time, because I lose a lot of it whenever I go to beat it in my trash can, beat all the paint off the brush. That's where most of the paint comes off, but that's also where I lose most of my paint thinner at. Luckily, paint thinner is not very expensive. Alright, now I'm going to come in where I had this yellow and just kind of start blending it into the other colors. And we'll just go right along the edge of it, to the bottom too. Using like egg-shaped strokes. Make this very easy. Alright. Now we're going to go ahead and start doing the same with the purple. You don't want to bring the purple back into the middle with the yellow though, without washing it. It might look a little bit strange. Actually, it might look good. Who knows? What do I know? Alright. I got this blended out some. And down here, we're going to come straight across. Since we're going to have water, we do want to get a little bit of that darker color going across. That'll look good. And you know, I think that maybe I'm going to take a little blue and brown mixed together, just mixing them on the brush. And I'm going to go back up and just put some darker color up in these corners, up around the edge. Just where we think it should go. And I'm just blending that down. Maybe a little bit of that color blend into the orange too. And bring some of it down to the bottom, put it into the water. Alright. I'm going to wash my brush again and just come through and blend the yellow one more time. And after that we can move on with the painting. So once again, back to the center of the painting. Oh, a piece of hair on there. Let's brush that off. There we go. That's the best way to remove it, just the corner of your brush. as you can see, going back through this yellow with the other colors, it's going to dull it down a little bit. And that's okay if you're making a sunset where it's very late, the sun's almost down. But you wouldn't want to do that if you wanted a very bright sunset. Alright, there we go. I think we got that about how we want it. Maybe some places could use some words, but we're going to go with it. Most of it's going to be covered up. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go down to the palette, and I'm going to make a mountain. So I'm going to take some very dark colors, some blue, brown, some little bit of sap green maybe, the alizarin crimson, it's sort of a purplish color, maybe more brown. And I'm just mixing that together so it's blended pretty well. Wipe my palette knife off on the napkin. Alright. And I'm going to go back up and just decide where I want my mountains to live in this painting. I think maybe I'm going to put one right here. And we're just worried about the outside edge. We'll deal with the inside in a minute. But I want one of them going right there, and I think I'm going to have another mountain today, maybe right here. Alright. Alright, now I'm just going to take my palette knife after I get that on there and just start scrubbing some of this color into the canvas. Press really hard and just really get it in there. As I said before though, we want to kind of leave that edge alone. Alright, I'm going to come back with my brush and just start pulling down the direction I think the mountain would go. This is where you start laying out your mountains. This is where you're making your big decisions. Which mountains are going to be in front, which are going to be in the back. And until you've actually started painting the tops of these mountains, putting the snow and stuff on them, you can change it at any time. So if you want the other mountain to be in the front, you can change it so it is. But I think I've got these how I want them to be. Just pulling down from the tops, leaving that defined edge there. And this is also a good place to do mountain ridges. You can decide where it's coming down, kind of lay it out. Alright, now I'm gonna go on my palette and get a little bit of white and mix it with a little bit of red, orange color, because I want it to kind of reflect the sunlight. And move this over a little bit so you can see that. There we go. I'll move it back in a second because that makes all the other colors blurry. I did not think this through. Alright, now we're just going to wipe off our palette knife, get a little cut of it, just something like that. And we're going to go back up to canvas and just go to the top of the mountain and just kind of pull down, let the mountain take what it wants. Putting some snow on this mountain. Bright colors. Maybe there's a little projection here. on the opposite side. Maybe I'm gonna do the same thing I did there, except with a little bit of blue in it. So on this side, we're gonna want to pull this way. And you know, when you're doing this, you don't necessarily want to cover up everything. You can leave some dark places here on the mountain. Leave some of the dark areas. Right here, maybe I'll do it the opposite way. I'll start on this side. Have that part going down the mountain. Then I'll pick up some of that same color to the foreground. That's your shadow color. So wherever the light's going to hit it, you're going to want to reflect that orange. And wherever you think a shadow would be, well, put some blue in there. Mountain go out a little more. Show that it's in front of the other mountain. Just scraping some of that shadow color down the side. A lot of this we're going to kind of blend out here in a second, so it won't be too important. Alright, now I'm going to clean off my brush. Beat into the blots there. Alright, now I'm going to just come along and tap the bottom of this, almost like I'm trying to destroy it. Tap it too hard. And then we're just going to kind of lift up the direction of the mountain. And then blend across. Just very lightly. We want to kind of make it look like the mountains are just floating in the clouds. The yellow clouds. Alright, now that we got that done, we're going to decide what we're going to do next. I think maybe I want like some rolling foothills in front of this mountain. So we're going to decide how to do that. And I've got to look at the time because I wasn't sure. I forgot to set my clock before we started. I normally keep one on the wall. So let's see, we got about 35 minutes left. Alright, so I'm gonna take some of that same color I did in the mountain and just put it on my brush and do a little foothill coming down through here. And that, like I said, that's the same color we used to do the base of our mountain. You can use whatever color you like. I think I'm going to do that one. Alright, and after we get this on here, we can just come gently lift up. In some places, it's going to look like trees really far off in the distance. And you want to make these pretty much going straight up, because if you don't, it's just going to look like they're all blowing over and the wind's blowing about 100 miles an hour. Of course, that's pretty cool too. Alright, we're going to do the same thing again. Come along another little hill going down through here. And let's see, maybe a bit more over here. And again, just lift up. And you see I've left a little space between these, and when I get done here, hopefully I'll end up looking like a little foggy layer between these. Make these a little bit taller since they're closer to us. And I'm just going to tap at the bottom of these. Alright, and now that we're getting a lot closer, I'm going to go back and get some dark colors, some blue, brown, green, mix them all together. And I come back up and do another layer. But this one, instead of, kind of making it go straight up like that, like we were on these, I in fact want to straighten some of those out. I did the thing that I was saying not to do earlier and made them all slanted. Alright. We're just going to go ahead and put some grasses and bushes and things like that. Maybe these would be really close. And as things get closer to you, they should get darker, so maybe make a layer of bushes that are closer. And now we're just doing little tiny things off in the distance. But in a second, we're going to start putting some big trees in here. Now we got that done, I'm gonna get some color together to do some trees. And these are kind of far off in the distance, we don't need a lot of detail. Alright, so we're gonna go right here. Maybe there's a tree that lives right here. I just wanna make him kind of small. He's really far away. A little bit more of that color. Another one that goes off the edge. And I'm just reloading the brush with a little paint before I make each tree. Put some of these in front of that mountain. Maybe this one's a little further away, so he looks a little bit smaller. Maybe one right here, right in the center. It's really far back there. He's a big one though, just really far away. That makes him look smaller. Alright, maybe one right here. back here. And one here, just all over the place. You can spend as much time as you want making these little trees back here. I'm not going to spend too much more time on it. I just wanted to get a few in there. I'm going to wipe a little of the paint off the brush. All the excess paint on there. And maybe one right here. And I'm tired of painting these trees, so I think this is going to be the last one for now. Alright, we can go back and take some of that other color and make some little bushy things going back in here between the trees. Just wherever we want, wherever we think they would be. We're going to go back and put some highlights on those in a minute, so we're not too worried about them right now. We just want to get some dark color. A bigger one back there. We'll bend the brush so you can see through it a little bit. Leave some of these little light areas. Not sure if you can see that very well. It's really far back there, but it's little details. Alright, next we're gonna maybe get some highlight color, highlight these. So I'm gonna take some yellow and green, maybe get those all mixed together. Uh-oh, got paint all over my brush. Get my napkin, get some of that off. Yellow, ochre, green, red, all mixed together. Alright, and then we're just gonna come back and highlight some of these trees with it. Not everywhere, just some little splotches of color, get some indications of highlights. And a little bit of light hitting them from the sun going down. I always like sunsets. It's my favorite time of day to paint because of all the colors in the sky. Maybe this one's a little closer. Maybe we'll give him more highlights. More light hitting him. Let him stand out a little bit more. Maybe a little bit right here. Yeah. It looks pretty good. Bit here. And little tree. He doesn't have many leaves at all. He looks like maybe he's dead. Man, dead trees are just as beautiful as live trees. And maybe in here, put some highlights on some of these trees and bushes. Just mix up the colors, different ones. You don't have to do all of these the same. In fact, it looks better if you don't. Maybe I'll pick up some of that red I used in the sunset and put on here. Oh yeah, that's nice. Crimson. Pick that up. Make a little. Ooh, that mixes together, makes kind of a purple-looking bush. Like that. And when you're doing these, just remember to leave some dark areas. You don't want to cover up everything. If there's a spot where you think a little bit more light would hit, well, you go ahead and paint a brighter bush there. Do it however you want to. I think there'd be a bright one right there. Right in the middle. And as you get closer to you in the painting, you want to put more details. But you know, this is still pretty far away, so we're not that worried about it yet. Alright, I'm going to go back and clean off my brush because I'm about to pull down some reflections into the water. You want a clean, dry brush when you do that. There we go. And cleaned off. And I think we'll just kind of start here in the middle and just pull it down as far as you think it would go out into the water. You try to mirror what's above it a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. Plus, you know, if a tree is really far away, it's not necessarily going to reflect into the water, even though it's pretty high. Maybe that one will, and that one. And these, I think they'd reflect into the water a little bit, so pull down a little more there for them. Just straight down. And just lightly across. Make this look kind of watery. You don't want to overdo it because it can destroy it, and instead of looking watery, it just look like you smudged paint onto the canvas. Now I'm going to come back and go into some of these areas where I put bushes and reflect them into the water. Just kind of mirror what I've got already out there. Maybe a little bit of the orange color here, reflect that one up. Maybe the yellow over here on this side. Get some a little bit brighter. Some bright things reflecting out there. Purple out here, a bit of yellow, and just wherever we think it should go. And for this, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to come pull it down just lightly, but we want to do it even lighter than we did before because we don't want to destroy these reflections. We just want to make them look watery. Come across very lightly. A couple of hairs. That's it. Alright. Maybe a little bit more right here. There we go. And now I'm going to go back down to my palette. I'm going to get some brown. Oh, probably should have cleaned off the palette knife first. Alright, some brown. Mix that all in. Make the brown a little bit lighter, I guess, but that's okay. And we're going to come back up and just kind of start pulling across and putting some land in here wherever we think it should go. Got some hanging off the side there. Wipe that off my finger. All right. Yeah, it's all right to get a little bit of paint on you. It won't hurt you. Don't recommend eating it though. There's some of the paints that can be quite toxic. And paint thinner is certainly toxic, so be careful when you're painting. Just make sure you get plenty of ventilation. Don't say I didn't warn you. Let's see, there we go. Whoa, I actually got some green on there. Take that off. Got my colors too close together. So to take that off, I just scrape across it. And I got a piece of hair on there. Wow, I got a big mess. The best way to take off a piece of hair is to just take a corner of the brush and just rip it off, just like that. Let's see, is there another one here? Alright, I'm going to go back and repair that area of the bushes that I messed up. There we go. See, that's an important part of painting, is learning to fix your mistakes. I make a lot of them. Maybe you don't, but I do. Checking the time again. Alright. A bit more brown. And alright, I'm gonna mix some brown with some of the white or red and stuff that I used earlier to make the highlight colors for the mountains, snow. I'm gonna come back up and just drop some of that in the same angle I put these in. You want it kind of slanted. Let's see, I think there might be a little bit more light hitting here. I'll make it a little bit brighter. And you know, as you get closer, you're going to see more highlights off in the distance. You won't see as many. Alright. And there we go. We're done with that. So next I'm going to step back and look at the painting and decide what I want to do with it. I mean, if we could just cut it off right here, block this part off, we've already got a nice painting here. But we got to finish this now that we started it. So, I think what we'll do is just put in some land right here. A little bit of blue, a bit of brown. Maybe coming down on this side. And I'm using a nylon brush. And it's all frayed, but you know, that would be terrible for blending, but it's actually pretty good for just putting in color like this or making textures. You know, when you're painting, a lot of people think that you're just kind of using the brushes like markers and just, you know, drawing with them. But that's not the case. You use the paintbrushes more for textures. Ooh, I accidentally hit that green again, but I like it here. You know, maybe we'll just come on all the way across with this. Just bring it on across. It's one of those places where you can just fill it in with a paint roller and it would be just as good. It's a great way to practice using your brush. I gotta straighten this out a little bit where I got that green. I got a little scratch in the painting. There we go. I'm going to change camera angles. It seems like this camera angle has a little bit of a glare on it, so you see a lot of brush strokes instead of the colors. So next time I'm going to have to change my lighting a little bit so that doesn't happen. That works for now. Alright. I think next I'm going to take my 2-inch brush. Just got a lot of brown, phthalo green, and blue. And just really load it up. I'm going to take it along till I get a chiseled point on it. See, just making it all pointed. And on a big tree right here. Right there, I'm going to put a big tree. You know, that one actually is not doing the job like I'd like, so I'm going to go back and see, get a fan brush, get some of those same colors in it. Say I got white paintbrush off. And alright, right here. Paint just wasn't coming off the brush like I wanted. You can always go back and paint over things if you don't like them. See, when I'm doing big trees like this, I like to use the 2-inch brush, but because it fills up more area, and I won't spend so long going back and forth with the fan brush. But you know, if it's not working out for you, just try it a different way. Something that works really good for me might not work for you. So don't feel like just because I did it or someone else did it on a video or something that you have to do it the same way. You can use whatever tools you like. You know, sometimes when I'm doing paintings where I paint something in acrylic first and let it dry and paint over it, one of my favorite things to use to paint with is a paper towel just balled up. So don't feel like you got to use the right tool for the job. There is no right tool. If it works for you, then it's right. All right, now that I got that in, I'm gonna come back and put in some more land down here. All right. Put more down here, make it darker. All right. I'm going to take that same brush, clean it off. I've been using the same paper towel for most of this painting. Got 2 of them here, and they're really dirty now. But I'm not getting a new one because I knocked my paper towels off on the floor. It's a good place for them. I don't use so many if I don't have so many. Saving on paper towels. All right. Next, I'm going to take a little bit of yellow and mix with the green. I've got it all loaded up here, and just get a little bit on the brush. Just kind of wiggling through it, loading it up with paint. And I'm going to go back up and I'm going to put some highlights on this tree. And this is a big tree, and it's really close, so it's going to have a lot more details than some of the other ones we've done. And let's see, a little bit more. I'll load it up with a lot of paint to do these. And if they don't look very natural, you can just come back and tap them again. They'll blend it into the paint behind it. Like when I first started putting the paint on, it looked like I took a fan brush and went like this, because that's what I did. But you know, now that I've got it blended out some, it looks a little bit better. All right, there we go. And I'm gonna take some of the brown and white that I had earlier, get a little bit on my palette knife. I'm gonna come make a trunk for this tree. Maybe one here, one there. Doesn't have to be very bright. I just want to show that it's there. And I can take that highlight color or highlights in. Alright, now I'm gonna start in the foreground. So I'm gonna pick up some of the yellow and green that we've been using on this tree and start doing some of the bushes with it. Being careful to leave some of that black area in there. You know, this brush is, you can see it's all frayed and messed up, but it's perfect for putting in little brush shapes. This is my bushes brush. Especially when I'm closer up, I really like using this one. Some of these bright colors in here. And just make sure you leave some of the dark area, because the dark area is almost more important than these bright things we're doing. A bit more green up there. Alright, now that I've got the bushes in basically how I want them, I come back through and just take the edge of my palette knife and just kind of scrape in some sticks and twigs in there, things that hold these bushes up. Maybe one here, just in the dark areas mostly where they're holding up the bushes, but you can put them wherever you want, really. Maybe some way back here you might see some little sticks and twigs going through there. Even looks like entire trees when you have them way back in the distance. Alright, and we don't want to overdo this, but they do look really nice. Maybe a few more like here, one there. There we go. And I'll come back and get some of this bush color. Just put over some of these. Bring them into the painting. Plus, I felt like I needed some more going on up here. Alright. And real quick, I'm going to check the time, see how much time we got left. Looks like we got about 10 more minutes, so I'm going to go back through and put a few more details in. I use my palette knife again to just put some trunks on these other trees back here. You don't want a lot of detail on them, but it's nice to have some. And let's see, a little bit more color up in here. Even though I'm adding colors and things like that, I do want to be careful, very careful, not to destroy all these dark areas. We need those in there. And I'm going back through and just putting a little bit of the crimson color for bushes. And again, like I said before, if you don't like something, you can always come through and blend it out. And I didn't like that crimson color, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put a trail going through here, just like I did in the last painting that we did in the previous episode. I think this is a good place for a trail. You need some way to get down here to this lake and catch those fish that'd be in there. Just take some more brown, scrub it in there. Let me see, we got about, what did I say? We got about 3 more minutes here, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of highlight on here. We do that just by taking a fan brush, a little white, and just kind of rocking back and forth, make it look like a little indentation. Maybe it's sunken in a little bit. Just gonna put some little grassy areas going down at the bottom of the trail. And you know, the more you tap this, the more softer it's gonna get. It's gonna look like grass instead of textured bushes that we have up. Maybe we'll go across and do all of it that way. Maybe like a meadow. That's what I love about oil paints, is you can still work with them after you get them on the canvas. If you're doing this with acrylics, it's not going to work very well for you because they dry so quickly. All right. Step back and take a look at this. And that looks pretty good to me. I think we're going to call that a finished painting. I'm really glad that you could join us today for the last episode of the 2nd season. And we'll definitely be back next season to do some more shows. And we'd love to hear from you about things that you'd like to see in the show. Things that you want us to paint. Or, you know, if you have questions that you want to ask about any of the techniques or how we do something, I'd love to know that. Just feel free to drop us a line. You can go to youtube.com/thesalem-painter. You can email me at thesalem-painter@gmail.com, or you can send me a message on Facebook. Yeah, facebook.com/thesalem-painter. Well, I'm glad that you could join us, and I hope to see you next season. Thank you.